two or three of the most popular soccer football formations in the world. A little bit of detail on that, and kind of if you have any questions or anything, I want me to cover anything else. In the next few episodes, I'm also probably going to cover some of the more misunderstood laws of the game, that type of thing. So we'll start with kind of the two most kind of the favorite formations typically for the more attacking teams. Then I'm going to cover a formation that's for a little bit more defensive, which may not sound that way, but I'll go into the details. So when you look at formations, of course you have the goalie back here at the goal. And when we talk about formations, we ignore the goalie. We always know there's only one goalie, so we know that. So you have, in this formation, it's called the 4-3-3. You have 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and then 3 forwards. And then purposely, I kind of staggered exactly how they are, because that's typically a little bit more how they play. When you come defensively, these backs, the fullbacks, are going to be a little bit more covering the corner, trying to defend against crosses. As you go up into the 3 midfielders, you're typically going to have what we call 6, or a defensive midfielder, and then you're going to have either 2 8s or an 8 and a 10 attacking midfielders. So you're going to typically have that one midfielder that sits back just above the defenders, as trying to, the design would be that he prevents the ball from getting to the defenders. Obviously that doesn't happen all the time, but that's the role. And then you have 3 forwards in this case, and typically you have one forward that's what they call the 9. It's really going to be right in front of the opposite goal, and then these 2 forwards are going to supplement that. Now in this formation, in the modern game, you're typically going to see these fullbacks push forward. So if it's the ball's on this side, this representing the ball's on this side, that fullback is going to push forward, then this forward would typically move in as what they call overlap. So they'll overlap down this way. Typically you'll see that forward and fullback interchanging positions quite a bit in that situation. The one thing that you typically see, Barcelona used to play this a lot with Messi, Man City, Manchester City in England plays this formation quite a bit, almost exclusively. Occasionally you will see one of the attacking midfielders drop back when they're defensive as an extra, they're an attacking midfielder, but when the ball's coming towards their goal, they will typically see one of them drop back a little bit more defensive. So again, that's 1-4-3-3, full fullbacks, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards. That's again one of the 3 formations we're going to cover. Get rid of that. So again, if you have questions or you want more detail, feel free to just let me know. Be glad to get into that. Take this time, say hi to Noah Gillender, who is in Spain and will be in Spain till right before Christmas. He's made a U19 team in Huseca, and he will be there through right before Christmas. So, hey Noah, hope you're having a good time. Next formation. This one's played probably a little bit more than the 4-3-3. So you have what we call a 4-2-3-1. So in this formation, again, 4 defenders. That's definitely more formations start with that 4 defenders than pretty much any. In this case, 2 midfielders, 3 more attacking midfielders, and then the 1 solo striker. Sometimes we even have them called a target striker. So in this role, the 4 defenders' roles are very similar. Center defenders, work almost as a pair. They're going to interchange and try to clog up the middle of the field. You're still going to see these fullbacks typically in the modern game push forward, trying to overlap with the second level of midfielders here. And then the defensive midfielders, you're not typically going to see a defensive midfielder other than a corner kick or free kick in the opposing box. They're going to play more, they're going to be past midfield. They're going to be trying to keep in contact with the second level of midfielders, but you're typically not going to see them run the box. Every once in a while you might see them make a run, but not typically. And then you have these 3 attacking midfielders. and their job is obviously to work with the solo forward. So that solo forward, depending on the player, the coach, what he's looking for, but typically that's going to be, again, that 9, really trying to get in the box, be a target for either the fullback coming forward with crosses or these wing attacking mids coming in to make crosses. So they're going to use him as what they get a target. Sometimes you'll see him used a little bit in like a holding forward, where if it's a bigger person, they'll get the ball, and their job is to get that ball kind of at the top of the box with their back to the goal, which isn't obviously ideal, but then get the ball, hold the ball, and then allow these three to make runs off of him, and he'll make little passes to that. So again, that's the 4-2-3-1. Again, that's probably the most popular formation right now in world football. So if you're looking at a game, that's typically, and again, they interchange quite a bit, but this is the base formation that's probably the most popular right now in world football. And then with some of these more super teams, when you look at PSG and Manchester City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, etc., the other teams that don't have the money or talent, or however you want to look at that, they start looking at, okay, how do we defend these attacking teams that have all this talent on their end? So one of the ways we do that, and it's going to sound a little counterproductive, because you're like, okay, they had 4 defenders in that one. This one only has 3. So you have 3, and then you're going to have 5, and then 2. So again, 3 defenders, 5 midfielders, 2 strikers. So you're like, well, wait, this is a more attacking formation. Not usually. Because what this is they're cheating a little bit, and okay, how are we attacking? Because a lot of time, most of the time in Europe and these countries, they're going to really look at these formations. Okay, what does it look like in attack? And this is what it looks like in attack: 3 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2. But again, as I went over in that 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1, you typically see the fullbacks sprinting up the field, which leaves those 2 center backs more as the last line of defense. These, you're really going to have what they call 3 center backs. And I'm not going to call these are all going to be center backs. They're all going to be hanging back. So instead of having 2 last defenders in front of the goalie, this formation, as they push forward towards the attack, they're going to typically stick around midfield, maybe a little past midfield, depending on the team and the formation. But you're going to have 3 back instead of 2. In addition, as you see, that they're typically going to have some role going forward. Those wing midfielders, but when it becomes defensive, when the ball's coming the other direction, it will really become more of a 5-3-2. So that's where it really becomes a 5-man back line for the defense. And then these 3 midfielders, there's typically going to be at least one. Again, depending on the formation, maybe even all 3 of them, that become that line of 2 or 3 defenders right in front of that 5 back defenders. So 5 defenders, you could have anywhere from 1 to 3 that become more defensive mid, and at least one of these forwards is going to be expected to get back on defense. And again, depending on the formation, and Chelsea plays this formation quite a bit under their new coach. So this is, again, it doesn't sound as defensive. Initially with the 3 back, you're thinking, hey, this is probably a more aggressive. But this is really the most defensive formation of 3 I've covered today. Again, if you have questions or you want to know a little bit more, I'm glad to help. If there's other things that you'd like us to cover, I'm still working on having some guests in the next few weeks. But this is, again, just trying to get some basic football knowledge out there. And love to see you for the next edition of the Real Football Show. Have a great week.